live here, but something to notice about this, I know I don't have the seed numbers on this graphic, but something that's interesting about our top 8 today is number 8 defeated number 1, number 5 defeated number 4, number 6 defeated number 3, and number 7 defeated number 2. So the upsets in all 4 quarterfinal final matches. So our semifinals are going to be 5 versus 6 and 5 versus 8 and 7 versus 6. So that's interesting. It's not something you always get, but I'm just checking in to make sure that the players are good to go. So let's take a look. We're going to look from from Pleasing Sky's side. So let's take a look at Pleasing Sky's deck list real quick. It looks like they're on the Sling deck list. It's the Skycrag Sling list. We may have seen a little bit of that, but let's get that pulled up here on the deck list viewer so everybody can take a look at that while we get our players and see if they're good to go. All right, so can you talk us through this real quick here? This is just your classic Sling deck, but anything interesting stand out to you?
Just need to open it up. So Geminon is kind of interesting. I guess it's become standard now, but it hasn't always been in the past in this deck. It's just redundancy with Ross. It's not quite as good, but 7/10 is surprisingly hard to kill. Kenna I find very interesting. It's a unit that doesn't trigger Sling. Huntress doesn't either, but Huntress is kind of a removal spell. And not saying you can't play stuff that doesn't trigger Sling, but you're incentivized to play mostly units that only trigger Sling. However, they seem to have made the decision that Kenna is a powerful enough card that it just doesn't matter. You're fine with a 4/5 killer for 4. It doesn't need to deal 6 as well.
All right, well, our players are ready, so we are going to jump down to the semifinals. PleasingSky4 versus TempestDragonKing.
Kind of a rough hand for Pleasing Sky. I'm guessing it was a second 7, and I'd keep it if I were them as a second 7. But you want Sling, and you generally want a little more power. I know it's easy to say, oh, the deck is named after Sling. Obviously, you want Sling, but Sling has that more than a lot of other decks. Okay, that's good for them. I need to pull up TempestDragonKing. Oh yeah, they're on this mill deck.
That's not something you see every day in the top 4 of a tournament, but here we go.
Well, my teammate Kalebovich made it to top 4 of an ECQ with a mill deck one time.
There you go. Okay. Well, you've got Two-Face drawn off. We did see the mill deck quite a bit in the Invitational. You had a couple players bring that. I think we actually had 2 players in the mill or Felon discard deck at least in the Invitational. Oh, and there you go, discarding Felrock. I like that. Turn 3, discarding Felrock and getting that in there. That's a nice synergy there. So TempestDragonKing Felrock, if you don't know, 5/2. If Felrock is discarded and if you have the right influence, play him from your void and then summon. The enemy player discards a card from your hand, then discards from their deck. So pretty powerful card, but really powerful if you can discard it. So really nice synergy there with TempestDragonKing able to flip that Felrock so early in the game.
But right off the top, Pleasing Sky has a Hailstorm. Doesn't completely clear the board, but gets rid of 2/3 of it.
Absolutely, and there's that exploit that TempestDragonKing is going to fire off here. I know what they take here. I guess you could take the Wisdom. But now they're going to take the Transpose. Okay.
It's I don't know, that's kind of interesting because, yeah, Transpose will stop future stuff that gets blocked by Face Aegis, but how does Pleasing Sky isn't playing Transpose soon, and Huntress isn't doing, like, if they have to play Huntress to plunder, you're pretty happy, where now they get to Wisdom.
There's a third Kenna in hand for Pleasing Sky. So 3 Kennas, a Siege Breaker, Maveloft Huntress. Looking at a Permafrost here, I can't imagine they're going to keep that, though.
No, that's not what you want to be drawing.
going to toss that to the bottom. Savage Incursion and Transpose in hand. And then a Jotun Hurler, the draw here for TempestDragonKing.
Kenna actually deals with basically every unit in TempestDragonKing's deck. Two-Face, you don't want to killer a Two-Face with it or Fell Rock, but everything else it eats or pops regen on.
There's a Rain of Frogs, and that's going to hit all 3 copies of Kenna, which kind of a bummer for Pleasing Sky, but you can't complain too much when your top card is a Rust after that draw, and you're able to flick Rust off of the warp value and then play out your 3 frogs as well. Not bad for Pleasing Sky, considering your hand just got decimated.
So I always have fun thinking about how many frogs you want to play out and how many you want to save, just because it seems kind of small, but it can matter if you have merchants or ways to use extra cards. And I think it probably would have been right to keep at least one of them to mark it away with a future transpose. I don't think it improves the clock that much, considering how many 2 health or more units TempestDragonKing has. None of that's going to matter when you're facing down 3 6/4s with Flying and Overwhelm in the air. Probably have to perma one and Huntress another.
Yep, so going to attack in with Frost. I agree. Permafrosting next, as you said, and then are we Huntressing? We're going to Huntress another one. That's the question.
I don't know how you that's 12 damage in the air, which makes multiple of them lethal the next turn.
That's true. Yeah, 2-turn clock. Yep. All right, here comes that Huntress, and here we go. Kind of Pleasing Sky's hand, a little bit forced here, but yeah, gonna use that Huntress, take care of the 6/4. I mean, it feels a little weird saying that you feel bad making a 9/8 killer to take out a 6/4 flyer, but it does feel a little bad in this situation. But you gotta do what you gotta do. TempestDragonKing gonna draw 3. Miss here, except you did get that Tome of Horrors in hand, so see if TempestDragonKing's gonna play that out. And here we go, Tome of Horrors now.
Oh, I guess there's not much that can. There's permafrost to punish that attack with the other 2/1. I don't know how much the mill matters.
Yeah.
That 2/1 might have been more valuable as just a blocker.
And not able to break Siegebreaker here because of the face Aegis. Not going to be able to break this Tome of Horrors here. I can attack with a 9/8. Now, this the Vines does still have regen, so that's a very easy block for TempestDragonKing. Here comes that Siegebreaker, going to pop the Aegis, but that's it. Now it's just a 6/5. Comes this Exploit. Going to take a Treasure Trove out of Pleasing Sky's hand, so empty-handed for both players here. TempestDragonKing going to see a Cobalt Waystone. Toss that to the bottom.
Empty-handed, but the tome will draw TempestDragonKing into more cards.
Yep, absolutely. And you're drawing. There's an Honor of Claws drawn off of that Treasure Trove. And now Pleasing Sky down to 5. Draw an Ice Bolt here. That's a good draw to take care of that 6/4. So can actually get a nice hit for 15 in here, and then Ice Bolt the Dragon.
Yeah, this isn't over, which isn't something you can say very often after a fully powered up Savage Incursion.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and jump block. I think that's a good jump block though, because that 9 damage was going to mean a lot here. Of course, Pleasing Sky. I'm going to use this Ice Bolt now. I don't know. Is TempestDragonKing running Dazzles?
They are not running Dazzle.
Punishment for holding there. All right.
But Exploit punishes, or if they play Exploit, Pleasing Sky punishes them by responding with the Ice Bolt.
Here we go. Here comes the Ice Bolt. That's going to take care of that 6/4. Now, Pleasing Sky is presenting lethal this turn. Now, they do have a Dark Talon Wyvern and a Maveloft Huntress that was drawn for turn.
Neither of those are that great here.
Really, you can play out. Can't play out both, so actually can only play out one. All All right, there's a
Ooh,
permafrost, and that's just going to be
top deck.
game. Look at that top deck. All right, Pleasing Sky going to take it. That was a good top deck there, but really putting on the pressure that whole game. Never really TempestDragonKing even with the Savage Incursion was kind of behind the whole game, and Pleasing Sky was definitely in the driver's seat. So well played by Pleasing Sky there to pull that one out. And we're going to go to a game 2. Winner of this makes the finals. A lot on line here for these players. I don't know. This Fountain deck has been interesting. It doesn't seem amazing when you sort of read it and you look at it, but you know it put up results. It played pretty well at the Invitational last week, and here you see it again in the top 4 of this big tournament. I don't know. Maybe there's something to this deck. We'll have to see if more people pick it up.
I've learned not to disrespect Savage Incursion. That
Yeah.
You have to play some silly cards to get it to work, but the payoff is there. It puts you ahead on board. It puts you ahead in cards. It can answer sites. That was actually a big part of our World's Tech, Lights Out Ace and I against Hulu Kira, was we knew as Ixton we had to draw Savage Incursion from the market and Snowball to kill a Palace.
All right. Thank you so much, Imia Dobe, for the raid. I'm sure I absolutely butchered that, but thank you so much for the raid. We really appreciate everyone coming in from your stream. We are in the game 2 of the semifinals here of the challenge. It's been a long day, lots of great Eternal, but we're getting here, working our way towards the finals. Rust on top here for Pleasing Sky, a little bit early. It's not exactly when you want to see it on top.
Yeah, although I don't think the mill deck is fast enough that you hate. Okay, actually, after drawing the Geminon, you're not as happy to have both already, but you have the sling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really where you want to be, having that sling, for sure.
That's not where you want to be with as TempestDragonKing right now.
Like using your turn 3 to play out a Naked Huntress on an empty board can't feel good.
Although it probably feels less bad than a lot of matchups, just because how many imbued Huntresses are even able to kill one of Pleasing Sky's units?
Yeah, well, that feels pretty good too. Flipping over that. This is turn 4 this time, but using that honor of clause, flipping over a Felrock again, pretty nice. But now Pleasing Sky has sling and drew a 4-drop this turn with Siegebreaker. Oof, brutal with Overwhelm too. There you go. And now the train is starting, because next turn Pleasing Sky is going to be able to play out either one of those 5 drops, then another one the next turn. And if TempestDragonKing doesn't have an answer for it, I could see this running away in Pleasing Sky's favor fairly quickly.
Yeah, how many answers to Ross does TempestDragonKing even have?
I don't know. Permanently,
they don't have
not
any.
many.
They can only Rain of Frogs it. So unless they Rain of Frogs this turn, which they can't do, Rost is sticking around. Oh, that also is
so
not
bad. Oh my gosh, using 2 Huntresses to take care of it. I mean, I guess they can go get Tome of Horrors, but oh, that's a lot of resources to spend. Right,
just play the Rost here if you're Pleasing Sky. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Just slam it.
You miss out on a little you miss out on a little value, but if you read over the deck list, and this is where I don't know if they'll get the Rain of Frogs here, or like if they can afford to, but this is where you get punished as Pleasing Sky for not playing out the Rost.
All right, and here comes that In Cold Blood. That's going to take out the Geminon here. And as well as the Tome of Horrors for TempestDragonKing. So doing what they can. Now, Pleasing Sky only has the Rost, which, I mean, it should be plenty, but that is the only, as you mentioned, I don't know what TempestDragonKing can do about this, but it is the only real threat they have in hand now. But I wouldn't be worried if I was Pleasing Sky's situation. You've got the best threat in the game on the board. You've got Treasure Trove and Huntress if anything goes wrong. Permafrost if anything goes wrong. Seems like they're in the driver's seat for sure now.
TempestDragonKing is going to take 7 a turn, I think. Or not 7. They're going to take a lot of damage each turn.
Yeah.
Basically, no matter what they do.
And here comes an exploit from TempestDragonKing, but that's essentially a blank here. You can take whatever you want, but this guy doesn't really need it at this point. The real answer's on the board right in front of you.
Yeah, as versatile as exploit is, it can't answer anything that's hit the board already.
Yep. They have that Savage Incursion in hand. But as you mentioned...
What's the void count at?
Let's see. So Pleasing Sky's void count is at 5 right now. So far way away from doing anything for this. You're not getting those dragons anytime soon.
Are we going to see Replication Cell here? Oh, we are.
Oh, Replication Cell. I love it. This is a beautiful play right here. Here comes that Rost coming back when you sacrifice it, and we're just going to start making Rost every turn.
If Rost plus Sling wasn't already enough.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, boy. All right, got the Dark Talon Wivark here. Base Aegis for Pleasing Sky is going to be able to stop that. This is nice too. You can use the Permafrost to pop the Aegis and then make a copy of Rost, which is going to kill that as well. Plus deal 3 damage because Rost, of course, has Overwhelm in addition to that. And yeah, that's just going to be it. Pleasing Sky is going to take it. PleasingSky4 is going to take that 2-0, and PleasingSky4 is going to be your first player in the